Just studying and then just and working on it over the off season by myself, just running routes in a field by my house.
Xavier, how limited were you in the spring?
What was that?
Were you limited in the spring physically with what you were able to do?
I wouldn't say necessarily limited, but I didn't get as many reps as I possibly wanted to, but that was under my control. I didn't do as well in the spring as I should have, so that was on me.
What's different, if anything, between then and now here, these first 5 practices?
I know my stuff. I'm running full speed on routes. I'm trying to catch everything I can and just playing a lot harder.
What do you think overall about this group of receivers? You guys ready to be a I know you're not going to surprise yourself, but you think you maybe surprise some people looking in from the outside?
Oh, we're definitely going to surprise a ton of people. With the amount of speed and the depth that we have in our room and the amount of guys that want to play and are learning to play, it's going to be awesome. We're going to surprise at least everybody, if not everyone.
Yes, Deontay at Big Ten Media Day, what receiver has the most potential? He said you. I asked Adrian Martinez last week, same question. He said you. When people say that, how often do you hear that from your teammates, from people outside the program, and how does it make you feel that everybody thinks you got a lot of potential?
Hearing it from my teammates and inside the program, that's probably the best way for me to hear it because I like the positive feedback, and knowing that I'm doing better and they see that and they're acknowledging it makes me feel good, and so I want to play better and play harder for them. And then hearing it outside of here, I don't pay attention too much just because I know sometimes emotions can be put in and people throw their own bias in, so I don't really pay attention to everything outside the stadium, but my main source is from inside the stadium.
Deontay also said that it's just a matter of you realizing how good you are. He's like, once he realizes it, it's just going to be. So when you hear that, like maybe what is he doing as a senior leader to challenge you, or maybe what is it that you haven't even realized about yourself as you're kind of getting comfortable?
I know one thing for sure that I haven't realized is my size, because especially when I'm going against some of our shorter DBs or even some of our bigger ones, I have a little bit of a size advantage on them, but I don't use it. So once I get that down and start using that to my advantage, I think I might be able to realize it a little bit more.
How are they teaching you to use it?
The biggest thing right now is my blocking and then my two-step release, because a lot of the time I just speed release, and so they're just pushing me outside, and so I'm working on that to get better and get open more.
What's the competition like right now? Lubick said he believes you guys have a 3 deep, so in other words, 9 guys who could play. What's the competition like? Who impresses you, and how difficult is it to just make the most of your reps?
The guys that definitely impress me the most would have to be Levi Falk, Oliver Martin, and Wyatt Lever, just because every play, no matter what, every practice, they're going 100%, giving their all with every rep they do. So being able to be behind those guys and watch is giving everybody else in the room, not just myself, but it raises our standard and makes us play better so that we can have more people on the field, more people rotating.
What's your take on Samari and Omar?
About what?
You talked about how those guys impressed you, the 3 that you just mentioned. What impresses you about those 2?
Omar especially, he uses his size so well that it's hard for the DBs to guard him. So watching him kind of gives me something to teach myself off of on using my size. And with Samari's shifty and he's fast, so watching him make cuts in and out and getting DBs on their heels also helps me with my footwork and teaches me ways to get off and get around guys.
Maybe what changed in your approach from spring to now that makes you feel better about where you're?
Honestly, it's a hard question to answer. I'd say my desire to get better has grown a lot more since the spring. In the spring, it was there, but it wasn't as big and as deep as it should have been. And just over the summer, I kind of found ways to improve that. So from then to now, it's just I want to get better more.
So did you have a conversation that made that?
Yeah, I have a lot of conversations with my dad. My dad's kind of one who points out some of the smaller details in my routes or in my releases that some of the coaches may not pick up on. So having conversations with him kind of gives me an outsider's look so that I can see what I can fix and get better on.
Anybody ask you about Adrian?
Kind of asked me about the question from last week.
Okay. Go ahead. That's covered. That was good.
How do you think? I'll ask one more. How do you think you guys are going to get better in the red zone in terms of just throwing and catching more touchdowns?
Repetition. Coach Frost says it all the time. Repetition, repetition, repetition. So, I mean, just us getting more practice in the red zone, catching balls, getting around guys. I think we just repetition is going to make us better.
Hey, thanks for talking.